you were inducted last year, correct?
Yes, Dave. I was inducted last year. Should I elaborate a little bit more than that?
Now, I know they didn't have a ceremony last year. It was kind of the first year for everything. Did they come to like your gym and give you the ring, or?
Well, basically, this is it's a work in progress. Is probably the best way of saying it. Just like everything else, each year, more knowledge, more availability of funds, of everything. And so this is actually the very first, I think, ceremony that is open to the general public, that they'll be invited to it, where actually dignitaries from different parts of the martial arts world will be involved in the actual ceremony process. So it's, I don't know, I mean, I'm just happy just to be a part of it.
Excellent. So let's see, who's fighting on this, or who's here tonight? Have you faced? I don't think you fought Rickson. You fought Hoyce, right?
Yeah, but he's not being invited.
Now, I've been meaning, I wanted to ask you this. My friends actually asked me to ask you this. And I know you're retired. You retired in January of 2013, correct? Retired from MMA in January.
I'll just say that reluctantly I'm retired, but I would come out of retirement for one of a couple individuals, but just a few other old farts there as well, that's all.
Well, that was a question. I know you want a rematch with Royce.
Yeah, he would be one of the three, yes.
Would you face him at, like, Metamorphosis?
I'm aware of what they're doing. If that would be the only opportunity, and if that was be an opportunity, why not?
All right, that was the question I had, was would you be, well, now, you did, you wrestled, you did MMA, you almost made the Olympics. Now, I heard this story a long time ago, but I'm sure our listeners haven't. You lost in the Olympic qualifiers, was it, on a controversial match, and that sort of got you into MMA? Something like that?
Dave, you're kind of opening Pandora's box here right now. I already took my Prozac before you guys entered my room here in the first place, so that I could be calm and demeanor here amongst us. But no, I mean, we wouldn't even be having this conversation today had things gone the way that they should have gone for me. I should have been the Olympic representative. I should have won the gold medal 1984, but that is not what went down. And then I had to exercise some demons inside of me at the expense of a number of opponents. For 2 years, people were impressed with what I did in the no-holds-barred world that morphed into the mixed martial arts world that we know it as of today. And they're blown away with what I did. I go, all you saw at that point in time was Dan Severn residue. If you really wanted to have seen an animal, you should have seen me from 1984 to 1986. I ruled the world. And not in a very kind way. I finished opponents off, usually by maiming them in some type of capacity, to where I ended a lot of people's careers. Well, all legally within the confines of the nice sport of amateur wrestling.
Yeah, well, I know you trained in amateur wrestling, and you were also a professional wrestler.
I like to refer to it as wrestling, Dave. There's wrestling and then there's wrestling, where men in tights settle their differences in the squared circle. You gotta talk like that too.
Well, no, that's actually, I was gonna ask you about it. Are you still interested in working in the wrestling business?
I still do there, Dave. I mean, I've already retired from one of my industries. I'm still going strong in the others.
Have you thought about working like in Inoki's Genome Federation, doing like the work shoot type of...
Well, I've actually met Inoki a number of years ago. I was first involved in the, I say I'm going to have a hard time coming up with the name here right now. As of the 92 Olympics is when I first got involved in the wacky world of professional wrestling. And I used my real name and I used my real amateur credentials. And I happened to be, in the infancy of my professional wrestling career. And I think it might have been only my first 5th or 6th match that I was involved with, and a gentleman from Nashville, Tennessee happened to be on that card. And he said, are those credentials real? And I said, well, yes, they are. He says, you ought to be over in Japan doing this thing called shoot fighting or shoot wrestling.
UWF.
Yes, UWFI. So I just gave him an athletic resume and a business card, and 3 days later I get a phone call. 10 days later I'm in Nashville for a tryout. 30 days later I'm in in Tokyo, Japan, in front of 12,000 people. Didn't have a clue what I was doing, but all I know is my Asian opponent kicked me half a dozen times really, really hard, and I dismantled him in the process after that.
Did you ever wrestle or work with, who is it, Jeff Ulbrich?
You mean Gary Albright?
Sorry, yeah. It's
Yeah.
I haven't watched that in about 15
Well,
years.
yeah,
but
I was like, Gary is long gone.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes.
did you ever like tag with him or anything?
Yeah, actually, we were involved in the first. I think it was the first kind of a mixed martial arts match for the UWI organization.
Okay.
So that was kind of crazy to be in there doing that.
Yeah, well, I remember seeing you in that long, way back. I won't say like.
I was wearing a beard at the same time there, Dave, as well.
And so that made me think of the Inoki's Genome Fed because they're
Yeah.
doing that right now with Crow Cop and some of those guys.
Well, that I was not aware of.
Oh yeah, no. If you check, they did a show with Sap and Crow Pop and Vegeta and.
That'd be some good.
So I was
good,
like,
funny stuff there.
Yeah, I was like,
Bob
some
Sapp
of your
involved with it.
some of your old friends.
Yeah.
Now I know your take on PEDs in MMA. You've been pretty outspoken about.
Well, I'm just, to me, it's like,